What's up guys, Brunsnick's back, and I'm going to talk about the Rule of 31. Now what is the Rule of 31? If you do not know, it's the idea that you can subtract the number 31 from the length of the pattern you're bowling on, and that'll give you the approximate break point of where your ball should be. I'm going to put that to the test on a house shot with Specto running to see if it's all that it's cracked up to be or if it's just a guideline of sorts. Before we get to all that, please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Now let's test out this Rule of 31. All right, now we're talking about the Rule of 31. I was recently asked in a comment, do you purposely target at 5 board, because you don't believe in the Rule of 31? Yes and no. I do believe it's a good guidance for tougher patterns. On house shots, it may not work as well, but we're gonna find out. I have Specto running, and we're bowling on a pattern called Crown Jewel. It's a pattern I bowled on recently, pretty much like a house shot, big gush in the middle, 43 foot, 13-1, somewhere in there on the ratio. So by the Rule of 31, that says subtracting 31 from 43, my break point on the lane should be 12 board. So we're gonna give it a try, and we're gonna see what it takes for me to strike when my break point's around 12. So, right out of the get-go, okay, I can no longer play further right. So that's gonna be the first problem of why the Rule of 31 doesn't always apply, especially on house shots. With house shots, you have multiple angles built into the pattern to get back to the pocket. So you can play in, you can play out. If I wanna play out, I can no longer aim at 12 board. If I'm standing on 15, technically, 12 board is left of me. My eyes are looking left to get to 12 board. I'm gonna go Brooklyn. So I'm gonna line up, I'm gonna see what happens, and we're gonna talk about it. Let's go. So just to think, if I wanna get to 12 board. All right, so that's gonna be inside the tracer. We're gonna be splitting the tracers, basically. I'm gonna try, we'll see. That's outside of it by a lot. So, another thing that happens when you try to use the Rule of 31 on a house shot is you take away pretty much every board to the outside. You're not using all the available free hook that's to the right. Now most centers, with the no rule and the 3-unit rule, are not gonna put that much oil to the outsides because they want your bowling ball to hook back. All right, I'm gonna have to move deeper. And here we go. I gotta get that way left of where I just was. That was still like way further out. So here's the other thing you're gonna run into with a problem is if my break point is supposed to be at 12 and the optimal entry board to strike is about 17.5. That means that my ball is only allowed to hook about 5.5 boards at the end. And that's a problem because you're not gonna get the entry angle and continuation through the pins. The only way I think this is gonna work is when I play a lot further left, and I'm talking up against a ball return to be able to get the ball through the pins and create enough angle in the back. So that's what I'm gonna do. Let's move it all the way left. Trying to get it to 12 board. That was pretty close to 12 board there. So you can already see what's happening is by the time the ball actually gets to 12 board, it wants to hook and use all of its energy now at the back end. It doesn't have a whole lot of room to go left, without going Brooklyn like it did. So that's the thing. Some patterns are different length, okay? So house shots can vary. They can go shorter pattern, they can go longer pattern. And generally the shorter the pattern is, the more right you're gonna play. And the longer the pattern is, the further left you're gonna play to get through the oil a little bit more. This is all well and good for sports shots, but if I wanna strike a lot, it's all about creating entry angle to the pocket and continuation to the pins, which is a bearer of using a ball that has more continuation, more impact angle versus entry angle. So in order to get that, And I'm going to try it again. I'm going to try playing maybe a little straighter and harder, but playing that rule of 31 and sticking to it is going to be bad for your scores. All right, let's try to play straighter 12 board. That's about 10. So you rope yourself off into a spot of the lane that isn't going to be conducive to striking. Granted, there's a gush of oil in the middle, and I can probably stay there, but if I'm trying to hit 12 board, I don't know. I don't think it's going to work. Let's try it. I'm going to make a little adjustment left off of that and just stay up the back of it more. Now that was a little outside of 12 board it looked like, but you can already see the result. I'm going to be fighting it. So let's take the rule of 31 out of play. Let's just throw this shot and line up how I think the ball needs to roll in order to strike. You're looking for a couple things on a house shot. You're looking for area, and you're looking for your ball to go through the pins. That's it. I want the ball to slow down in the right spot. So my target, I'm just going to throw it. We're going to see where it ends up. I'm just playing the middle part of the lane-ish. Okay. So that felt like it was around 7 board. And right there, that's not quite enough. So what adjustment am I going to make off of that? I'm going to move left with my feet. 4-pin is typically going to be about a 3-board move. I could probably just move 3 boards, get it out to the same zone, and watch that ball come through the pins. Perfect. Let's do it. 3 boards. Let's get this ball swung to where it needs to go. It's about 5 board. And we tripped the 4 that time. So obviously, you're going to have a harder time if you're trying to adhere to a 1-board rule by the rule of 31. So for most house shots, I don't think the rule of 31 applies, okay? So granted, if you bowl on a 40-foot house shot, sure, your 5-board could be it, but I'm bowling on 43. Patterns vary. So it's a good guide, the rule of 31. I think on sports shots, it'll help you get in the right zone because it's a little more critical when you're doing to be in the right zone on a sports shot rather than a house shot. I can strike from multiple angles on a house shot. I've shown you in countless videos when I'm doing reviews. All right, I'm gonna move a couple more. I'm gonna get it out. And we'll get flush pocket here. Ha! What a break, 9-10. I'm upping myself. Normally it's just a 9-pin, but today the 10-pin said hello. But that's the bottom line. House shots, not a great idea to adhere to the rule of 31. Sports shots absolutely can help you get in there. You know, like a cheetah pattern, if it's 35 foot, subtract 31, you're gonna need to be outside the first arrow. But that doesn't tell you the whole story. I mean, we might talk about it a little bit more. We put some house shots, you know, we'll put some sports shots out there, and we'll test that theory as we go. But in my opinion, rule of 31 on a house shot, not your best interest to do it. So if you have any questions, comments, put them below. We'll talk about this a little bit more as we go.